Bounds podcast with your host, Jabril McKeithen, bringing it alongside, the man, the guy, the dude we brought from Black History Month, my favorite white man.
Yeah, man.
Joe.
You know I had to come back. We got a couple million views on the last episode. Had to come back, show y'all some more love. Really appreciate the hundreds and thousands of comments.
Yes, sir.
So I had to come back, and we here again, episode 2. Let's get it.
Yes, sir. My boy did a fantastic job. I could not bring him back, y'all. I could not bring him back. I had to do it for y'all, bro. But let's get into it. As y'all know, really this week or in this episode, we're gonna be talking mainly about the NBA. We did integrate the NFL in the last episode. We're going to be talking more about that as the Super Bowl comes. We're going to break down the Super Bowl for y'all. What we seeing, what we love, for the fan perspective, as a analyst perspective, all that. We're going to break it all down to you because, Joe Brrr, Matthew Stafford, we're going to see what happens. We all going to love that. We're going to love that. But let's get into this NBA trade deadline. As y'all know, major trades did happen. First trade that we're going to talk about, the Cavaliers and the Pacers making a trade. Cavaliers making a trade for Caris LeVert, a 2022 second-round pick from Miami, and the Indiana Pacers receiving Ricky Rubio, 2020 second first-round pick, and 2020 second-round picks. So, personally, the Cavaliers, they've been dogging this year. Evan Mobley, Jared Allen, dogs, fighting in the trenches. Obviously, people weren't sure if Evan Mobley and they were all going to work together, but Darius Garland's obviously pick and roll, being a great facilitator, having Rajon Rondo on the bench, helping them out with all that. Personally, I love Caris LeVert just as a wing scorer for them. I love what I'm going to see from them. I think it's going to be great for them, honestly.
I definitely agree with that. And then you got the Pacers getting Ricky Rubio. Might not sound like the flashiest thing, but he's a great facilitator. Mm-hmm. Been that for a while. So, Pacers, they're not doing too well right now, but they got a good roster looking forward. I think they can make some noise maybe next year. Pacers
definitely got something to look at, especially with these picks, just because draft picks in the NBA could be valuable. It really doesn't matter where you get them from. You can find a stud in the second-round draft pick. Looking at Fred VanVleet, undrafted all-star. Anything can happen, honestly, especially in the NBA draft. Got diamonds in the rough. They got 2 second-round picks out of this deal, another first-round pick. So it's honestly looking up for them. Another deal, including the Pacers that we're going to move on to. Tyrese Halliburton, Buddy Hield, and Tristan Thompson get traded to the Pacers, while the Kings receive Domantas Sabonis, Jeremy Lamb, and Justin Holiday. Personally, I feel like this trade is pretty good. In all honesty, I feel like it was. I know the Kings fans are a little sick about this, and I get it. Tyrese Halliburton was a stud. Just from a Sixers perspective, I seen him drop 40, I think, on us. I think it was 40, and the dude was straight balling, bro. I didn't even know he had the capabilities of him to do that, but it was a straight dog, straight hooper, and just knowing how he wanted to. Even in his interviews, he was talking about he wanted to help the Kings organization get through the rebuild. It was kind of sad to see the man go, for real.
Yeah. Look, man, if you know me, I'm a big Buddy Hield fan. Also like Halliburton a lot. Yeah, man, that boy Buddy Hield, he's nice. Love that guy. You got Halliburton as well, big fan of him as well. That's another 2 big reasons why I do like the Pacers going forward. Mm-hmm. But then, everybody's talking down on the Kings for getting rid of them. But you got to understand, they got an all-star in Sabonis. Don't discredit Domantas Sabonis. That guy is a baller. He's a rebound killer. He could do it all, man. He could really do it all.
For real. Just watching, little Pacer games here and there, I could just see, Domantas Sabonis, he's obviously not flashy. He ain't LeBron. He ain't going to be Embiid, KD, and all that. But that's a man who just does his job. He comes in there, plays his role. He gets 20 points a game. He facilitates the ball here and there, and he gets you your rebounds. First game with the Kings, he had 22, 14, and 5 assists. So he does everything that you want, especially nowadays in the big man. Some big men are asked to do a lot, especially such as Nikola Jokic. You see him, big men doing more, being more involved in the offense is happening now. So just to have somebody like him, especially helping De'Aaron Fox, who's obviously more of a scorer than he is in this a playmaker. That's probably what Tyrese Halliburton more was. But I feel like Domantas Sabonis is going to help with them, especially defensively, grabbing rebounds, playing in the paint. I think it's going to be good for them. They still got Richaun Holmes, so I'm hype. It's going to look good for the Kings. It's going to be interesting. I'm not a Kings fan. I know someone's sick, but it's going to look good.
They also got 2 pretty solid role players in that trade as well. Justin Holiday. They got who else was over there? They got Jeremy Lamb as well, 2 really good shooters. The only thing I really didn't understand is that I know in the state of California they're doing the same thing with New York, where Kyrie Irving couldn't play, And Justin Holiday is on the same type of time as Kyrie. He's not he's not vaccinated. He has voiced the fact that he does not want to get vaccinated and will stand on that. So the fact that the Kings traded for him is a little confusing because, you know, he's going to have to be that part-time player that Kyrie was for a little bit, or is still going to have to be. But, I mean, if he can play, he's definitely going to do a solid job. He's a great shooter, just like Jeremy Lamb.
I know Justin Holiday is a shooter. He balled against us on the Sixers, too. I'm telling you, I watched that game. He came out with, like, 15, 20 points, just straight three-pointers. Just every time he caught it was caught fire. So I know Justin Holiday is a good addition for them. Obviously, I don't think it's Buddy Hield. Buddy Hield is an absolute sniper. I know Sixers talking about acquiring him. Lakers wanted him at one point. So highly regarded sniper, very good shooter, very efficient type of player. Justin Holiday is also a sniper, though. Jeremy Lamb is also a sniper as well. So it's going to look good for the Kings. It's going to look interesting for the Pacers as they're going through probably not a rebuild, but I guess a retweak of their offense, getting rid of DeMontis and Karis LeVert. Yep. But it's looking bright for Indiana. I'm liking what Indiana's going to do.
Definitely doing some good things over there.
Definitely.
We're going to talk about someone who's not doing good things, Portland Trailblazers.
Oh, yeah.
The Portland Trailblazers, man. I don't know what's going on over there, man. Like, I'm a big Lillard fan, but they just got him out there stranded right now, man. Like, they're getting rid of everybody. He's just there by himself. Who they get from McCollum? Josh Hart.
They got
Tomas Satoransky. Like, yep. I don't know, man. I'm gonna sit back on that one. I don't like that trade at all.
Like, if you're a Sixers fan, like you're watching both of the Blazers mainly, the Blazers, the Nets, the Celtics. You watching all the teams just because they have that star. And Damian Lillard, you never would thought he's always. I'm gonna grind through it out. I'm gonna grind it out. I'm gonna stay through the process. I'm gonna stay loyal to the team. But it's looking like the team not even staying loyal to Damian Lillard at this point. Man. Like the grind has to be too hard at some point in his life. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. I haven't been told, but Adrian Wojnarowski was saying this is to rebuild around Damian Lillard sort of thing. I don't see how. I like Anthony Simons. But you gave up Norman Powell. You gave up Robert Covington, who's a great 3-and-D player. Came from the Sixers. No hit. Probably the best 3-and-D player. If you need to if you look at the definition of 3-and-D, you're gonna see Robert Covington. That's the best type of player who does it. To get Norman Powell, you gave up Gary Trent, who's been absolutely balling Toronto. That's why they're in the playoffs at this point. Like Gary Trent is an absolute beast right now.
Definitely.
I don't know where the help is gonna come for Damian Lillard. Obviously, I wanted to get Damian Lillard for Ben Simmons. Obviously, that's not a thing anymore. Today, that's not going to happen. But I just don't know what Damian Lillard's options are because the Lakers want to get rid of Russell Westbrook, but are the Blazers going to get Russell Westbrook for Damian Lillard? Is that something they're going to want to do? Like, it's just I don't know what Damian Lillard's going to do because this team is not going to win a championship. Honestly.
I mean, if anything, it's going to have to come in the summer. You know, the trade deadline is already officially passed. And, you know, I've heard a lot that the Blazers want to extend Lillard, another $100+ million deal. So
as they should.
I mean, yeah, they should, but I don't know if he should, man. Yeah. Like I said, they're doing a lot of bad things for him right now. So we're going to see.
They have a lot of cap space from all the trades they made. I know that was the biggest input, just having all the cap space to sign a big player. But if you're a basketball player, are you going to Portland? When you got all these other teams like New York, Madison Square Garden, like – you go to Wells Fargo in Philly. Obviously, that's not the best, but you go to Brooklyn. You go to Miami. L.A. It's three, 4 teams in L.A. you could go to. Are you really going to Portland? Like, I don't know. If Damian Lillard pulls it off, just come smack me in the face, bro. I honestly come smack me in the face because I'll be surprised if anybody signs with them. But I hope Damian Lillard figures it out. I hope the Portland Trailblazers, I hope Chauncey Billups, new head coach, figures it out. But it's hard for me to envision them doing anything remotely good in the playoffs, honestly.
Listen, man, we talking about playoffs. Obviously, it's not looking great for my Knicks right now. And trade deadline, they did nothing. They literally did nothing. They just sat there and just watched. They watched while it happened, watched everything else happen. But one thing I am a little happy about as a salty Knicks fan is that the Mavericks traded Kristaps Porzingis. I was very hurt when they got rid of him. And it just feels good, you know what I mean, to see that he didn't work out in Dallas. No hate towards the guy. It's just, you know, like, feel like the Mavericks kind of stole him. So, kind of happy about that. Although they did get Spencer Dinwiddie and Davis Bertans. So, they did get a solid return for him. So props to the Mavericks.
So I don't know how I feel about this, only because the Sixers did lose to the Wizards, and Spencer Dinwiddie did drop a triple-double. Every time I look in the NBA, some random person drops a triple-double. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Type of season.
I look one day, Spencer Dinwiddie would have a triple-double. Next day I see Luka. I'm like, all right, Luka Doncic had a triple-double. I can't even be mad about that. Then the next day I'll see like Elfrid Payton have a triple-double. I don't know. I'm like, bro, like where's the kid? Like, what's going on, bro? Like, it be making me mad. But I don't know how they utilize Spencer Dinwiddie, just because he has been injured. He came off his ACL tear last year, started playing on the Wizards once he got traded. He looks good, but I don't know what role they're going to want to use him in. Obviously, I like Kristaps Porzingis. Like, I feel like that's my biggest issue. I do like Kristaps Porzingis just because he's a big body. Granted, I guess he's soft. He's not obviously he's not Shaquille O'Neal. He's not Dwight Howard, Joel Embiid, any of those type of players. But just to have a big body who can stretch the floor for you, I feel like to trade him for Spencer Dinwiddie, I feel like you could have gotten something better personally. I feel like that's just where I stand.
I see why you would say that, but, I mean, when Spencer Dinwiddie is healthy, that's a baller right there, man. That man can play. He could really get you a bucket whenever you need it, clutch time. I like Spencer Dinwiddie a lot. He's really a good basketball player. Yeah. Solid pickup for the Mavericks.
Yeah, the Mavericks also got Davis Bertans, if you don't know. Sniper, absolute sniper. He got paid this big contract. If Wizards fans sit here and tell me like, yeah, it's because of contracts, like you're moving contracts for contracts to get off of one contract, I'm like, all right, that's a completely different point. I could get that. This is I know. So shooting is really important in the league, and people pay big contracts for that. I think he got paid like, I don't know if it's 20. It might be like $12 million a year, and he's not playing a big role. So if you're telling me like contract for contract, like I get that. But I just feel like the Mavs could have gotten something better for Kristaps Porzingis, just because he has the flashes, he has the double doubles, and he's a solid player. I feel like he's a solid player. Obviously not an all-star, just because there's obviously more dominant bigs in the league, obviously especially in the Western Conference. But I just feel like the Mavs could have found something better especially to help out Luka Doncic in this stage of his life.
I do think you're right, but I mean, when it's all said and done, Porzingis is a wizard. And, I mean, they did make another trade. They got rid of Montrezl Harrell. This was also a very confusing one for me, man. They got Vernon Carey Jr., Ish Smith, and a 2023 second-round pick. I just can't make sense of that, man. Montrezl Harrell is a beast, and, like Ish Smith, all right, but I'm going to be honest, I never heard of Vernon Casey Jr. Never heard that name in my life.
Yeah,
so
Montrezl Harrell, the dog, though. That's a dog. I don't know what's going on. Bradley Beal is injured, though, so I don't know.
Fair.
I don't know what the Wizards are doing. My one friend's a Wizards fan. I hate the Wizards just because of him. I hate to break it to him. If he's watching this, I hate the Wizards. You ruined them for me. It's looking bad. Ever since you got Russell Westbrook, the team been on the downhill streak. Bradley Beal injured. Nobody knows what's going to go on with Bradley Beal. Obviously, people want him traded just because the Wizards aren't maximizing his potential, maximizing the talent around him. I hope Bradley Beal does get traded just so he can perform on a winning team because, you know, every player deserves that. Every player deserves that.
Especially a player like Beal.
Yeah, like just seeing Kemba Walker. Well, Kemba Walker obviously is a failed experiment because he went to New York. It's not working out. So I don't know what's going on with him. But you know, you want to see players flourish, get the opportunity to win a championship, right? And then going on teams, and the teams are wasting their talent. That's just how I feel. Like,
but I mean, I feel like we didn't really talk about the other end of that trade. Montrezl Harrell, obviously, like we both said, he's a great player. But now he's a Hornet. And, you know, coming down, teaming up with LaMelo Ball, you know, they got a really young team over there, real solid team. They're talking about a promising future. That's a team to look out for in the future. You know, like I said, LaMelo Ball, you got Gordon Hayward over there, Miles Bridges. They got a lot of pieces over there. I like the Hornets.
Definitely. Montrezl Harrell going to be a little six-man or whatever rotation he's going to be. He's going to come off the bench, obviously. That's where he's flourished at. Won Sixth Man of the Year. Getting boards, doing all the nitty-gritty stuff in the paint and all that. It's definitely going to help the Hornets. Let's give them a physical presence. It's definitely a benefit, especially when you're losing players like Ish Smith, Vernon Carey, Montrezl Harrell. I feel like that's obviously an upgrade. That's just obviously an upgrade, if we're being honest. It's only going to benefit the Hornets just to get those just dogs, honestly, because obviously we know the Hornets as young players, young talent, still looking for a way to establish themselves in the league. It's going to be better, you know. They're going to start looking good in the future for the East, but obviously the biggest things in the Eastern Conference that we got to talk about today.
In the
league, the biggest blockbuster trade.
Yep.
The Brooklyn Nets and the 76ers, Sixers fans, it's finally over, guys.
It's time.
It's finally over. Ben Simmons is gone. Ben Simmons is gone, ladies and gentlemen. This is the best thing that's happened to the Sixers ever since AI took us to the finals. Ever since the Dikembe Mutombo signed to us, like ever since Wilt Chamberlain was part of the Philadelphia franchise, you know he really wasn't. He's part of the Golden State franchise. Ever since those days, Ben Simmons is gone. Ben Simmons got traded. If you don't know, Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, Andre Drummond, 2 firsts from the Sixers for James Harden and Paul Millsap. Personally, from my point of view, probably the best thing that could have happened for us. Probably the best thing that could have happened to us. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I get it. The Sixers, they look great. Obviously now with Harden, Millsap gonna come off the bench, give him a little spark. But I just gotta play devil's advocate, man. I think the Nets had a great trade as well.
Definitely.
At first I thought like the Nets fleeced the Sixers. I thought it was a steal. I thought they stole Ben Simmons. They just gave Harden and got all this back in return for a 32-year-old. I thought the Nets fleeced the Sixers. But now that I'm looking back at it, it's kind of an even trade because if you really think about it, Ben Simmons wasn't doing anything. He was just sitting on. He can't even say he was sitting on the bench. He wasn't even there.
He wasn't even there.
He wasn't even at the facility, man. So you basically gave up what? Seth Curry, Drummond, and 2 firsts for Harden and Millsap because you can't even count Ben Simmons in that trade because he wasn't going to play. So
he was never going to play for us.
If you really look at it that way, I do think the Sixers also made a very good trade. So I think it's big ups to the Sixers. But I do think we need to also give respect to Brooklyn. I think they're going to be real good, man. I really think Ben Simmons is going to flourish over there. I think he got something to prove. I think Seth Curry is going to come in and spread the floor, just like another Patty Mills on that team. I think both teams improved dramatically, but I do think, obviously, Brooklyn got more depth, and the Sixers obviously got their guy.
Definitely. Man, I don't know, man. Bro, once the trade finally happened, I was sitting there stunned. I'm sitting there like hands on my head. I'm like, oh my God. I'm not even in the organization. I'm not no player. I'm feeling like this big ass weight was on my shoulders and it finally lifted. Like I felt the most loose, the most like joyful, the most happy. Like I'm doing a dance. I'm like, yo, like, I'm doing the gritty. I'm doing the gritty like this. I'm like, thank God, like Ben Simmons is gone. Like it's the best thing I've ever seen. But for me, like you said, like for Sixers fans, you have to be happy because at one point, not even at one point, Ben Simmons was never going to play for us. He was never going to walk back into Wells Fargo Arena. He was never going to put on a Sixers jersey ever again for us. And he was pretty much sitting on the shelf.
Yeah.
With him on the shelf, with Seth Curry, with Andre Drummond, we are currently what? We're top 5. We're not in the plan. I think we're the 5th seed. We're the 5th seed, yep. So without Ben Simmons.
Yeah.
And Seth Curry has been struggling recently. Andre Drummond, fantastic bench piece, better than Dwight Howard, what we had the year beforehand. Andre Drummond was a great bench piece for us, great rebounder, great replacement for Joel Embiid. But for James Harden, can you really, like, how can you not do that? I feel like this is the perfect thing for Daryl Morey.
Yeah.
Because at one point, people were talking about Ben Simmons' trade value being low to the point where we were talking about C.J. McCollum. C.J. McCollum just got traded for Josh Hart. You know what I'm saying? Tyrese Halliburton just got traded for Domantas Sabonis. Domantas Sabonis, Tyrese Halliburton, and Buddy Hield. Are these players on James Harden's caliber? Like I would say no. I feel like James Harden's established. And if you're worried about James Harden just because he gave up on 2 teams, he wanted out on 2 teams, I'm not too worried about that personally. Like he wanted to come to the Sixers in the first place once Daryl Morey got hired. He's here now. I feel like he's only going to be happy here, honestly.
And on top of that, he extended his own contract. What was it? He picked up the player option, $40 million next year. So he not only said he wanted to go to the Sixers, he got his way and he committed. You know, he said, I'm staying one more year. We're going to run this back next year, see where this goes. And I think that, like I said, I think it was a solid trade for both teams. But like you said, you got the Sixers at the 5 seed. You got Brooklyn, what are they, 10 losses in a row?
Yeah.
Sitting at the 8th seed.
Plummeting.
I don't know. I think both teams are going to improve. What do you think they're going to do, like, as far as seeding at the end of the season? Where do you see both those teams finishing?
So, obviously, KD's going to come back from the All-Star break. And he's obviously top 3. Top 3 players are obviously going to be Giannis, LeBron, KD. I feel like, obviously, he's taking a longer break than he has to. So, just to get that rest. It's only going to help them. My only issue is Ben Simmons and Kyrie Irving. Those are the 2 biggest question marks. Just because Kyrie's only playing half of the games. New York did just lift the mandate. We'll see what happens with New York City and all that.
That's huge.
We'll see if he's going to actually be a full-time player. If he's a full-time player, it's only going to help them. But I feel like it's all going to rely on Ben Simmons. I know people are like worried about Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving's going to be Kyrie Irving. He's going to dribble the ball. He's going to get past the defender, make nice layups, hit threes when you need them, assist when he has to. It's really going to be on Ben Simmons because this dude was at one point claiming he was mentally ill or had a mental health issue to not play for the Sixers. Is it going to be the same thing like that? Is he going to? It's Kevin Durant's problem at this point. It's not it's not the Sixers' problem anymore. Like, yeah, you have to look at it like that. It's not our problem anymore. It's going to be Kevin Durant's. He's going to have to see. James Harden didn't work with him. Kyrie is looking like it's not working with him. You have another troubled player on his team. Is Ben Simmons going to work with him? I don't know. Is he going to shoot? You want him in the Draymond Green role? Will it really suffice him? Is it going to suffice Kevin Durant? It might. I'll admit it will. It might. It should. Their defense should be better. But I like what the Sixers did. I think the Sixers ultimately get better. We're challenging definitely for the 1st or the 2nd seed in the East. We're already the 5th seed, only like 1.5 game behind the 1st. So we should end up in the 1st. I like when James Harden gets back, it's only going to help us. Joel Embiid is going to have a much easier job. It's going to look good. It's going to look fantastic. I can't wait. I'm excited.
I'm over here looking at the standings, and Cleveland's only 1 game back with the 1st seed.
Cavaliers are up there.
As we said before, they traded for Karis LeVert, great scorer. I think Cleveland could possibly take that number 1 seed.
They could. I love Darius Garland, honestly. He's been a great – I love like CP3 players, just point guy. Like, just score for you, get you assists, do all that for you, make the game easier for all his players and all that.
Come through in the clutch.
Yeah, it's only going to be better for them. Karis LeVert is going to take the scoring pressures off of Darius Garland. I know the Heat are up there, but they have injury concerns just because Kyle Lowry gets injured, Jimmy Butler gets injured, Bam's been injured a little bit. But I like Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler's the leader of the team. Obviously, Tyler Herro's been balling. Duncan Robinson, great player, 3-point shooter, 3-point sniper. It's looking good. Good.
You obviously got Milwaukee. As long as Giannis is on the floor, you also got Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday. That's obviously is a great team, defending champs. Obviously, they have a shot at that number 1 seed. Another team I like a lot to take that number 1 seed is Chicago.
DeMar DeRozan.
Yup, DeRozan. Love that guy. You also got Zach LaVine, another great guy. You got Lonzo Ball, terrific defender, amazing playmaker. I like the Bulls a lot as well, man. The East looks good. The East is deep. The East is very deep.
The East only just got better.
Yeah.
So any team that thought they had a chance, you're a little shaken up with these trades, especially with Ben Simmons to the Brooklyn Nets and James Harden to the Sixers. The East just got a lot harder for teams. I'm telling you, bro.
So now you look over at the West. You got the Suns sitting at 45-10 at the 1st seed. You think anybody's gonna give them a run for the 1st seed?
I would say Golden State, but just because Klay's in and out of the lineup, James Wiseman, who was probably supposed to be around the same time as Klay Thompson. I'm not too sure. And they look a little iffy because Steph Curry gets cold and has his little cold streaks at some point. He had it earlier this year. But I have no faith. I have all faith in them to be a top 3 team in the Western Conference, especially with the Lakers plummeting. Utah Jazz have been injured, been banged up a little bit. The Western Conference is a lot more wide open than what people think.
Yep.
It's really just going to come down to key players. The Clippers, I think, are going to be on an uprise just because of getting Norman Powell. Once Paul George comes back, they're only going to look better. You're going to have Kawhi Leonard coming back. I hate to say it, but the Clippers might at one point run LA at some point. Unless they get this Russell Westbrook and Anthony Davis and LeBron thing to work out, the Clippers are on the uprise. In all honesty, once they get these 2-star players back, it's only going to look better for them.
You know, one team I have that catches my eye in the West is the Pelicans. As we spoke about earlier, they got that CJ McCollum trade going, and doesn't really seem like they gave up much, man. Like,
definitely not.
No disrespect to Josh Hart or any of the other guys they traded, but I mean, Josh Hart, CJ McCollum, come on.
Great scorer. Going to help Brandon Ingram. Great leader, honestly. Going to help because the team is young.
Yeah.
Having Zion, Brandon Ingram, no real leader.
Whenever Zion comes back.
Whenever Zion gets back, it's going to be a great team because Zion,
that's a
Zion was averaging
right
like
there.
25 a game when easy 25. Just go to the rim, lay it up. Nobody can guard him. It's going to look good for the Pelicans. It's going to be on the up for them, honestly. I love CJ McCollum for that team.
Yep.
Yeah. But that's really all we had to talk about for the trade deadline today. Obviously, Ben Simmons is gone, Sixers fans. Ben Simmons is finally gone. The weight. I know all the Sixers fans out there, they felt the weight I'm talking about. They felt a 45 dumbbell on. They felt the 45 plates on them, the 245. It's probably like 5 45s on your shoulders. It's gone. It's gone, y'all. Ben Simmons is gone. James Harden is here. He's going to play next week on Tuesday. It's only going to be up from here. But that's all we had to talk about for the trade deadline. Tell us what you think about it in the comments. Tell us what trades you really like, something that we missed on. Honestly, I feel like most teams won the trades in the deadline this week. The only team, obviously, Kings and Pacers is probably the biggest one that people will talk about.
Yep.
Just because Tyrese Halliburton's a stud. But other than that, I feel like every team won what they wanted and got what they wanted for the trade deadline. And now it's the buyout market. We'll see what happens. Now, after the All-Star game, it's time for a championship. It's playoff time.
Yep.
But, yeah, we'll talk to you guys next week for the Super Bowl. Joe Burrow, Matt Stafford, if you guys don't know, the Bengals versus the Rams. We're going to talk about that. It's going to be a great podcast episode. Tune in. If you guys like what you see, please leave a like. Like I said, comment. Tell us what trades you like this week, and let us know. We'll talk to you guys in the comments. If you like what you see, follow us on Instagram. And I hope you guys enjoy what you like. We coming back on Monday. We're going to talk about the Super Bowl, and we back in here, y'all. I hope you guys enjoy the content. Thank y'all for tuning in, y'all.